Yeah, I understand it's a slow season for us in the surveillance industry because the extreme weather. So it is also a good time for us to learn something new about the systems so that we can be fully prepared for the new jobs in the next few months. If you guys have ever attended LTS training before, you probably know me. My name is Vivian. I'm an account manager here at LTS. And this is Marlon, our technical specialist. Today, Marlon and I will be talking about some basic knowledge about IP systems. I know a lot of you have known that IP is ultimate market trend in the surveillance system, so everybody's trying to learn something about it. The line of today's training seminar. So in the first part, I will make a comparison between analog system and IP system, so that you guys will have an idea of how to convince your customer to choose IP system over the analog. Then in the second part, I will show you how to make quotation of a complete IP system, also based on different applications. Then in the third part, Marlon will be walking you through the installation process step by step. Then after that, after you know how to connect the devices, he will also tell you how to configure the system. And if time permits, we can show you how to do some smart features on our IP systems. Also, during the seminar, there will be some pop quizzes and questions for you guys to answer. But don't worry, don't run away, because these are like simple questions, and anyone who answers the question will get a smart gift from us. So please grab a pen and a catalog, and I think there's a paper in your catalog, because you might need to make some notes and use the catalog as a reference. So everybody has a catalog? Okay, great. Okay, so let's see the first part. Before we talk about the advantages of IP system, we need to know what's the difference between analog and IP, so that you can convince your customer, why IP can be better than analog. Can any of you tell me what are the advantages of analog system?
Affordable?
Affordable. Pricing. Here's a gift for you, sir. What else?
Obviously, price.
Price, yeah. Well, price affordable. Okay. Right.
Easy to set up.
Easy to set up. Yes. Yes.
Easy network.
Easy networking. Yes. So in a nutshell, analog system has the advantages of its simplicity and price. Virtually, you can plug any analog cameras into any analog DVRs, regardless of its brand or resolution. And from a installation, learning curve, and maintenance point, CCTV is simple. It is literally as simple as plugging the cable into the DVR and into the camera. And there's no IP address in the camera, no search utility, no PC for that matter. But that simplicity can also be a limitation, and we'll be talking about that later. And the second part will be pricing. Yes, virtually most of the IP cameras will be more expensive than analog cameras. So a lot of customers, they say, oh, I can find the all-in-one analog packages on the market for really affordable pricing. That is why a lot of customers can be easy comparing quotes than be swayed by the apparent low cost of analog systems. So how do we convince them? Let's make a comparison between analog and IP and see what are the limitations of analog CCTV. So The first one will be its scalability and installation flexibility. So if we see this is a chart of analog CCTV and IP surveillance. We all know that CCTV stands for closed circuit television, which is its first limitation. Because it is closed, it's hardwired, and it's very difficult for you to scale. If you can see this picture, analog CCTV is more like an octopus installation. It's closed. So you can see, you can think of the cable of each camera as the octopus leg, and the DVR, which is octopus head, and everything is hardwired, so the cable will be the backbone of analog CCTV. Although there are some ways for you to use analog on some larger installations, but there's nothing in the analog world that is as scalable and flexible as IP systems. So let's see the structure of IP solution. Because it is based on network, so it can be as open or as close as you want. And since IP solution allows you to scale once your budget or your needs grow, and each IP camera is based on network, so it is easy for you to place or configure or network the camera from virtually anywhere in the world. So that's why since it's like based on network, it's more open. That's one other advantage of IP, because you can use the network to configure the whole system, and it's easier for you to deploy them on large installations like campuses, multi-level buildings, and also multi-site retail stores. So that was the first one. It's the scalability and flexibility. The second limitation of analogs on CCTV will be its resolution. We all know that the higher the resolution, the clearer the image will be. Do you know why, and what's the theory inside of it?
TV lines versus pixels?
I'm sorry?
TV lines versus pixels.
Yeah, TV lines versus pixels. So yeah, I want to introduce you an important factor, important concept about resolution, which is a pixel per foot, we can also say a PPF. In the resolution category, it measures the pixels that each image sensor can capture, divided by the horizontal width of the scene being covered. So with the same size of scene being covered, such as this dollar bill, the higher the resolution, the more pixels there will be in the picture. Therefore, the more detailed and clearer the image will be. So we don't even have a 700 TVL like analog like picture here, because if you use the 700 TVL analog camera, you probably can't even see the dollar bill on the table. So that's give you an idea about the resolution. Okay, so to gain the same level of clarity, if you use the 700 TV line cable, 700 TV line cameras, you might only be covered that small little area. But with the higher pixel per foot of the megapixel cameras, it allows your customer to save money by installing fewer cameras, which is another cost factor, which is invisible cost factor that your customer might be neglected. So you might need to educate them about the resolution, and you can install fewer cameras. Okay. Since we were talking about the the factors about in calculating the total cost of ownership, there's also an invisible cost factor that might be left out by your customers, which is cabling. So let's see, analog cameras, it runs on RG59. So I know a lot of you guys are pros here. You know how to run your cable, and you know that thing is heavy. Normally it takes 2 to 3 cables to achieve the full functions such as video, power, audio, or PDZ function. But with IP system, if you want to run video, power, audio, PDZ, or other data, you can achieve that function by only running the one single lightweight network cable. So that's why it saves time and energy for you guys to run the cable. That's why cabling in the analog category might be twice or even 3 times of the IP cabling. Okay. Besides that, there's also a factor that IP system allow you to have more options to run cable. Even like you don't have to run cable between systems. That is the wireless application that IP solution can use. If you guys came to our last training seminar, we introduced about the wireless access point to connect the whole IP system. Each pair of wireless transceiver can be connected with 4 IP cameras, and that allows you to replace the cable with the wireless access point, and it's a great choice for like traffic lights, warehouse, parking lots, forest, or even elevators. I went to school in Chicago. I love the Windy City, and also its architecture. But you know the high-rise buildings, sometimes they don't have the pre-wired cables for the elevator. So it's a great choice for you to use the wireless solution with IP. One of the prerequisites about this solution is that you need to have a clear line of sight, which means you don't have like obstacles between walls or like big trees that will like somehow affect the effectiveness of this solution. So, but it's also like a great way for you to save money and save the time and energy in cabling.
Excuse me, what's the distance between the transceiver?
Distance, so far we've tested with a clear line of sight, we can go around like 1 mile.
Yeah, I'm having a little issue with that. You said about the limitations that it has is just clear line of sight.
Right.
How is that going to work in an elevator shaft?
Well, it's like the elevator shaft, like we mount one on the top of the building and one in the like an elevator on the top of it. Yeah. Yeah. That way you can.
I would assume they require power.
Yes, they require power. Actually, we have one right over here. If you see, we don't have cable running. Like we just run the power to.
So that little white box right there is a receiver,
Yes.
good, and that just gets a right of 120 or 110 outlet. I mean, and then that just plugs into your standard outlet, the
Yes.
receiver, and then what's a good 24 volt? Or is it 12 volt?
Well, we do have like different solution, like choices. So you probably need to see the spec sheet of this items.
Where does the cable come in? Is it a wireless camera communicating with transmitter? There's no wire between the two?
Well, they're actually communicating through the router, and these are more like they transmit the data through the network. That way you can
So the camera's wired to the router?
well, like this one, it's actually wired to the connect to the access point. Each one can be connected with 4 cameras, 4 IP cameras. Okay, so there were three of the limitations of analog comparing to IP, or three of the advantages of IP comparing to analog. The last one will be intelligence. The analog cameras in the CCTV are considered dumb devices. Except for PTZ camera, where you can like remotely control the functionality of the camera. Nothing in the analog category that you can remote access or configure it. Whereas the IP cameras, you can remotely access the IP camera from actually anywhere in the world. And that's the you can not only can you like remote live view, you can also configure like the resolution, brightness, frame rate of the camera. And remember earlier this month we had a 12-inch of snow.
It's Monday.
Yeah, that was a Monday, and I didn't come to work. I didn't come to work that day. Sorry, boss. Yeah, when I woke up that morning, I started texting around my coworkers and, hey, you guys going to work? But no one replied me. So, and I didn't really want to go to work like in such a cold, snowy day, right?
You're gonna go this Monday either.
Oh, right, yeah, who wants to go to work on Monday? But anyway, I couldn't tell like whether I should go or not, because I don't know whether my coworkers are going or not. So what I did was I used my iPhone and remote access the IP PTZ camera back there, which has the smart tracking function. So what I found out was that there was only one guy in the office. I feel so relieved because, you know, if I were getting punished for not showing up at work, there are gonna be so many people getting punished with me. So I feel so relieved. So I just stayed at home drinking my hot chocolate. You know, yeah, thanks to the IP system, of course. Then, like I said, you can remote access that. And also another intelligent feature about the IP system is that there are some video analytics smart features that you can use. Like it is very good for you to go back to the system forensically if you need to find some evidence in a faster and simpler way. For example, we have the IP camera, or in the firmware we have some features that is anti-video tampering. That means if anyone is like covering the lens of covering the IP camera, the system will tell. And after we detect this motion, detect this event, the IP system will act on it, and by sending like email alert with snapshots of the event. So such as if you have like if the system detects a motion, and it will send you a snapshot with the picture that's being captured at the moment of the event taking place. So that's another video analytic features. The third one will be smart search. Well, I'm only listing three because there's like a limitation on the space, but there are much more like smart features. The third one is smart search. It allows you to search the emotion in a selected area when you play back the video. That way, you don't have to sit in front of the monitor and watch the video for like 12 hours. You can it allows you to search the motion in that selected area maybe in like 3 seconds. So it's a really easy way for you to go back forensically to find evidence. And the third one is the firmware. Like I said, like all the features are realized through the firmware updates. If you guys see the big PTZ, IP PTZ back there, you can see it kind of it tracks people. It automatically detects the motion and follows the motion until that motion disappears. And when we first got that IP PTZ camera, we didn't have such kind of feature. But after the second generation firmware update, that feature was realized. And so for IP system, if you consider as an investment, there will be like there will be like more features or more value as the firmware updates, because we'll have more functions with the same equipment you got. And like I said, that's a smart tracking of this PDC camera, and also like the total bandwidth, which is the MVR's total capacity of handling and processing the image, can also be doubled through the network through the firmware update. So, which is another like the icing on the cake. Those were the intelligent features of IP systems. Now, this chart serves as a summary and the and you can see the contract between analog CCTV and IP surveillance. The first one, yeah, everybody's concerned about pricing. Analog cameras are cheaper, but most people didn't realize that you will pay more for cable, and you need to install more cameras than the IP systems. So that brings to the IP surveillance, where you have a lot of styles and price range in IP cameras, and the total cost of ownership will actually be cheaper sometimes when you compare the analog with IP. The second one, resolution, because traditional analog CCTV tops out at 720 x 480, which is like 0.3 megapixel. But the most basic or the most entry-level IP cameras, their resolution starts from 1 megapixel. So that's pretty much like 3 times the clarity than the analog system. And if you consider the 5 or 6 megapixel cameras, the resolution can be even like 9 to 10 times the clarity of the analog. And the third one, scalability. Yeah, we talk about it's costly and difficult to scale because everything is hardwired. So if you need to upgrade the system, you will need to like rip and replace the whole system. Whereas in IP category, since you use the PoE, which is power over Ethernet, and also you can use the wireless solution when adding or moving the cameras. So it's more flexible and it's more simpler to deploy on larger installations. And we just talked about the intelligence. There's none in the analog camera. Yes?
The PO is at what length is it going to start losing power?
Oh, I'm sorry?
At what length will the POE start losing power?
What is the attenuation rate? When will the PoE lose power?
Oh, okay. Normally we suggest you to run the wire within 300 feet. If you ever go above that, you can choose either use a repeater, or you can choose to use the wireless solution we just talked about. Okay, so yeah, like we said, there's non-intelligent features in the analog cameras. Let's see. Whereas the IP cameras, if you see the cameras back there, we have the PDC camera that can automatically track people. We have the camera that has motorized lens, which allow you to change adjust the focus of the camera by just clicking the mouse on your screen instead of like physically climb up the stairs and in the cold winter days. So that's another smart features. And we also talk about the video analytics in the firmware and in the whole IP system, which allow you to save a lot of time and energy when you need to go back forensically to find evidence, and also the email alert or the ability to integrate with other devices such as POS machines and the alerts alarm system will make the system like be a system continuing growing. So that's another factor. The last one will be cabling, which can be considered as another cost factor that you can convince your customer that cabling for analog system is more costly and time consuming than the IP systems. And you don't, and you can also convince your customer for like a bigger installation that if you use IP system, you don't even need to run cables for such a for a whole football field. You can just use the 2 or 3 wireless solution or access points. So that way you can save a lot of money and energy. Okay, pop quiz time. Well, these are the very easy questions. So whoever answers the question will have a little gift from us. First one, what are the advantages of analog CCTV? Price. Price, is it a man? You're getting 2.
Same question.
Okay.
It's simple.
Sorry, who said it's simple? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm running out of gifts. Thank
How
you,
about
sir.
intelligent versus non-intelligent?
Uh-huh.
I don't know where
Wait.
that's going.
Were those intelligent versus not intelligent, were those advantages of analog CCTV?
Or is disadvantage?
Right. Okay.
No
Which
prize.
brings to the next question.
Give it, don't I got it.
What are the disadvantages of analog CCTV? Who said that?
Well,
Okay, sir, you can have one.
Intelligence.
Thank you. Okay, slow down, guys. Okay, resolution? Okay. Uh-huh. Scalability?
Cable.
Cabling, uh-huh.
Over TCO.
Should I just give everybody one
Yeah.
gift? Okay, so yeah, well, yeah, we'll try to get everyone a gift.
I give 5 you train them for going.
Okay, the third one. What does PBF stand for?
Pixels per foot.
Pixel per foot. Good.
Say again?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, PBF stands for pixel per foot, which is a measurement in resolution. Okay, name 2 intelligent features of IP solution of LTS. How have you done that?
Remote accessibility.
Uh-huh. Remote accessibility, uh-huh. Yes, sir?
Video analysis.
Video analytics, yes, very good. Next, let's go to something new. I don't know if you guys turn to our catalog to page 4. Page 4 are the hybrid solutions that we LTS offer for you to convince your customer switch from analog to IP. But some people, they already have existing analog systems and they don't want to throw away the good analog cameras. So the LTS hybrid solution is the way to go. If you see the rear panel of the hybrid solution, this part of BNC connections, that's the analog connection type. Whereas here we have the LAN port, it allows you to connect with IP cameras. So if you see the model number LTN 7604-HT, that's 4-channel analog plus 4-channel IP. And the second one, LTN 7608-HT, that's 8 analog plus 8 IP. Then the third one, 16 analog plus 16 IP.
And the connection is made via that RJ45 onto a PoE.
Yeah, we'll come to that in the next chapter. So yeah, so it's it allows you to have a smooth transition from analog to IP, and it's also very cost effective. The next chapter. So by doing the comparison between analog and IP, your customer should be able to be convinced to switch to the IP system. So now it's time for you to make a complete quote for the IP system to show them how much it's going to cost. So the basic system composition of the IP system includes IP cameras to capture the video or to capture the image. Second one will be the PoE switch to provide power and transmit data. The third one is the NVR, which is the network video recorder, to process the video and compress the video. And also, if you want to store the image, of course you need a hard drive. And lastly is the cable. You use the network cable, which is RG45. So you can use Cat5, Cat5e, or Cat6. So when making the quotes, you'll be thinking about what camera should I choose. If you turn your catalog to page 10 and 11, you can find the LTS Platinum Series IP cameras. Okay, so we need to consider these factors when choosing cameras. First one is the resolution, like how clear your customer wants to see in the picture. So LTS IP camera offer the resolution from 1.3 megapixel all the way to 6 megapixel. Also, we have different styles. We have dome cameras, bullet, turret, box, PDZ camera, and also fisheye cameras coming in soon. And the third factor will be, is the camera placed indoor or outdoor? So if it's outdoor, what kind of feature it has to have? For example, does it have to be weatherproof? Does it have to be vandal-proof? Does it have to have a wide dynamic range to handle the mixture lighting condition? So if you see the catalog, you can find some the little picture that says IP66. That means it's weatherproof. And also you can find the WDR and different features on the catalog. So if you need to choose different cameras, you can just look at page 10 and 11. Okay, the next one is the lens type. I remember the gentleman back there asked about the lens of the box camera, whether it's changeable. The thing is, yes, you can. Sometimes if you want to see a certain area or like a certain area that the camera can cover, you need to consider the size of the lens. Normally, our LTS camera lens size range from 2.8 millimeter to 12 millimeter. But if you use the PDZ camera, that range from 4 to 94 millimeter, so which is a really broad range for you to use. The second lens type will be, is it fixed or varifocal? LTS IP cameras, we have fixed lens cameras, such as if you see on page 10, we have the CMIP 3412, which is the best-selling IP cameras in our company. That camera has 4 millimeter. But also there is a version CMIP 3412-28. That's the 2.8 millimeter fixed lens version. So it gives you like different choices, even if it's like fixed lens. And like I said, we also have the motorized lens, motorized varifocal lens. Those can be found on page 11. If you see the camera, the model number is called CMIP 8433-Z. The letter Z stands for motorized lens. So if you ever need the motorized lens, you can just go to find the models that has -Z in the back.
That means you can remotely focus.
I'm sorry?
When it's motorized, you can remotely focus
Yes.
from the internet.
Right. Yeah. Because like the lens itself actually moves when you click on the mouse on the screen.
Can you do that from a smartphone?
Yes.
It's fancy, right? Okay. So I'm sorry.
Now, with that motorized lens, is that within that 2.8 to 12 millimeter lens, or does that go up to the 94 millimeter?
94 will be the PDZ. camera. Yeah, but with the motorized, normally it's 2.8 to let me see, actually 2.7 to 9 millimeter. Well, that saves you time and energy from like climbing all the way up to the ladder. And also, there's another really smart feature about these motorized lens cameras that there's we have a feature called one-click focus. It allows you to just select an area where you want to focus, and the software itself help you like adjust the focus. Because sometimes for IP system, there's some sort of delay over the network. It's really hard for you to adjust the focus. So with the one-click focus, the software itself will help you easily, adjust the focus. Okay, the next factor we need to consider is night performance. How many IRs does it have? What kind of IR does it have? The shape of IR. So if you turn to page 10, the first camera, it's kind of funky looking, but because it has like two little eyes, the CMIP 3012. That camera has has what's so-called matrix IR. Since the shape of this IR is square compared to the traditional round-shaped IRs, so if it's traditional round-shaped IRs, you'll see these 4 black circles, while the central part is too bright. We call it halo effect. But with the matrix IR, kind of like even out the IR lighting, so you can get a smooth picture at night. So that's a good camera for great night performance. Also, you need to consider IR distance, how far you want to see at night. So normally, if you see the specs of each camera, you can find how far the IR can reach at night. Also, lastly, there's a term called DNR in night performance, which means digital noise reduction. So at night, sometimes you can see little noises on the picture, but with the digital noise reduction, it kind of give you like a better night performance and better night image without like all the like little white dots.
Could you talk about the 2 different types of I see you said WDR and DWDR.
Okay. If you see the camera on page 11, you can find the camera says True WDR. Those True WDR has the capability of reach the 120 dB, whereas the DWDR, which is realized through the software. So it's more like a digital WDR compared to the true WDR that's realized through the actual camera lens. So that's why the cost for those lenses is much higher. That's why the image will be better under the mixed lighting condition. So the price will be higher. Okay. Lastly, some application require you to add audio to add audio or record audio to the video footages. So when you have such kind of application, you will need the camera that has -S in the back, which is on page 10. The bullet type is called CMIP 5333-S. And the dome type will be the CMIP 323 CMIP 3233-S.
Do you have just a microphone or speakers?
I'm sorry?
Does it have a microphone inside?
It's audio built in, but it's not microphone built in, so you still need external microphone for that.
Is there a jet inside in the case to connect?
Yeah, there's a cable for you to connect. Yes. Okay, so now after we choose the cameras, we need to choose NPR. There are some factors for you to consider when choosing the NPR. The first one is, well, actually these 4 factors are kind of correlated. So if you turn our catalog to page 2. In the spec, you can find video input which is the so-called the bandwidth. It's the capacity of the MBR that can handle. So LTS MBR has the bandwidth ranging from 20 Mbps all the way up to 160 megabits per second. So it's a broad range for you to add cameras, and also how many cameras and what's the resolution of camera can you add, and what kind of frame rate you want to record at are also decided by the total bandwidth. So you probably need to consider the total bandwidth. So also you need to consider what kind of storage the MBR can handle. So if you see the specs here, the storage are here. For example, if it's like smaller case, you can add 2 hard drives in up to 8 terabytes. And the MBR on page 3, you can add even more hard drives. All the way up to 8 terabyte. 8 hard drives up to 32 terabyte. And also, our MBR, higher level MBR support NAS. So it's another way for you to store the video footage. When we were making the catalog, we kind of calculate the recording rate and compared to the resolution. So you can find over there under record. So you can know.
Yeah, when the recording, you said the video input the 3 megapixel, right? That means we cannot add up here like a 5 megapixel IP cameras.
Well, that says 4 channel at 15 frames per second. If all 4 cameras are 3 megapixel, you can add 5 megapixel camera to that MBR, but it cannot handle 4 of them because that's limited by the total bandwidth. Because we know the concept of channels in IP surveillance is kind of different than that in the analog category. In the analog category, you can connect like 32 channel DVR to 32 cameras, regardless of resolution. But in IP, you need to consider the total bandwidth, like the total capacity that MBR can handle.
So when you're saying it can't handle it, if the matrix of the grid at 3 megapixels and you have a 4-channel IP DVR, that means your frame rate is going to be at 15, maximum is 15?
Correct.
Okay, so it can handle it, but at a different rate.
Right, yes. You need to tone down the frame rate in order to balance out the frame.
Okay, so if we had it scheduled for 30, we're going to have some outage or something like that, and the resolution or solution is to manually go into the NDR and turn it down?
Yeah, basically, you're not going to have that option to set it to 30 frame or 15 frame. For example, 5 megapixel would just going to give you 6 frames per second, for instance. You're not able to turn it up. That's a limitation because to reserve the bandwidth for other channels as well.
So it automatically drop that?
Yeah. You know, in the camera, which is I will show you later on, which is under the settings and the record parameters, you can adjust each frame rate of each camera.
Would it adjust automatically?
IP camera on the DVR, on the MBR itself has default settings. So even though you have a 5 megapixel, when you first turn it on, it's probably going to be at 720. So so every camera has its own settings. So you have to kind of change it yourself.
15 frames per second. It would involve display or recording or both? Each customer would be whatever you like.
Right. I will explain that a little later, but since you brought up, I'll kind of like tell you right now. The analog is when you set it up, the live view and recording is separate. So for example, analog when you turn on at real time, it's always 30 frames per second. But you could tune down the recording to 15, but it won't affect your live view. But on IP solution, whichever you set to the recording, it will affect your live view as well. That's the difference between analog and the IP solution.
Okay, what about storage communication?
I'm sorry?
If we use the 60 camera, 2 megapixel, and storage, let's see, just 10 terabytes.
Okay.
So how long does it take?
Okay, good question. Well, on our website, under support knowledge base, we do have a storage calculator. It's very useful too. You can go up there and put how many cameras you have. You can add the resolution to it, frame rate, and how long the recording per day, and it will give you an estimate of how much storage you will need to achieve your.
I have experience about that. 16 camera, 2 megapixel, and I have the 12 terabyte, but it is less than a month. So,
Well, it's a factor. You can always, try to lower the frame rate because the frame rate is a big impact on storage. For instance, you have 4 cameras on a 2 terabyte, only give you like probably 5 days on like a regular 1080p resolution. If you tune down to 15 frames, probably give you 10 days. That's a big difference between the frame rate.
Doesn't that, if you're on motion, it varies, right?
Yes. That's a catch. It's like when it's in motion, depends on how busy the client will be. If they are extremely busy, they operate like 24/7, like a deli store. And of course,
put 16 cameras on a 16 channel analog in a senior's home. I'm getting on an 8 terabyte hard drive, 4 months.
Yeah, because
5 months.
Yeah, it's depending on how constantly they have motion.
On motion.
Right. Yeah, and that's have to put in the factor. That's something that we could not calculate.
Right.
So every situation is different. So like, all you can do is really depending on the industry.
Right.
If it's a deli store, then you have to resort more. You have to be a little more conservative. But like on a normal situation, like normal like offices, you can just put like 8 hours, 7 hours of recording per day, which is going to be plenty enough because they're not going to have motion every moment. This is just an office. Any more questions? Yes.
Yeah, for the outdoor camera installation,
Okay.
especially the IGF 45 cable,
Okay.
if you do it outside and then like a cold or winter time, that connector between the cable and the cable from the camera, what's the best way you can secure from the humidities or rain, whatever?
Okay, well, we do offer, depending on the camera, we do offer junction box to match the camera. So like basically, you're just gonna hide the camera in the junction box, so it will not expose to the environment. So you can consult your sales rep and see which camera has an option to add a junction box for outside. So in that case, your cable is not going to be exposed.
So all the IP cameras comes with the junction box? I don't see it.
Some of them does. Depending on the situation, some of the camera they are designed for outside, then they will they can add a junction box to it. Because there is also a lot of accessories that you can mount it different. You can have a Hampton mounting for the cashier. It all depends on the camera and the junction box.
And you can find all the accessory on page 10 for different IP camera models.
With the IP cameras, there's no big deal though. The RJ45 terminal.
It does. On certain one of them, you can also use power, like a 712 volt. Say, for example, you're only installing one IP camera. There's no point of buying a PoE switch. In that case, you can just buy like a DC adapter to it. On the camera itself, it does have a 12 volt, or depending on the camera, around 24 volt. So you don't have to technically run on a PoE switch.
It's not using that power to snip.
What do you mean?
You're not using the power part to snip.
I will say this is, flip it off, just put it up, hide it inside the wall or in the junction box. You don't have to, just in case you might want to move the camera later on, that you're probably not any situation. But also to maintain the proper access. Any more questions?
Okay, so since we were talking about how to calculate storage, Marlon just said that we have the storage calculator on our website, and a lot of times customer ask me how much storage I need. I want to record like every channel at 30 frames per second, maybe 3 megapixel cameras, sometimes even 5 megapixel cameras. But normally we don't, in IP system, we don't require such high frame rate because it's per second. Even 3 to 5 frames per second, you will not lose any activities. So you don't need such a high frame rate for such a high resolution.
Do you have a bandwidth calculator anywhere on the website where you can put in this many cameras, this many recommended, or is that?
Yes, actually, we just updated our Platinum. I'm not sure if you guys visit the Platinum download page. If you scroll all the way to the bottom at the Platinum download page, there's a tool called Platinum 2 Sets. It has a lot of features in it. One of them is called bandwidth calculator. So what it does is you can add how many cameras you're going to be working on this project. It's a very useful tool for you guys to do quotation. So you're not sure how many, what's the bandwidth you guys need. So you can just add each camera and give you the resolution and give you a it will give you a recommended bandwidth. So you can just also lower on our Platinum MBRs. You can actually lower. If, for example, if this camera requires 300 K, like 2048 K bandwidth, you can actually lower it down that to achieve more cameras as well. Which is I will actually show you where that is.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so here are some factors for you to consider when calculating storage needs, which you can select the options of the storage calculator. Okay, so let's start some practice. Let's see how can we do some quotation for some customers. We like our Platinum series. We offer plug and play solution, which if you turn to catalog page 2, there are some model numbers that has -P4 or -P8, even -P16. Those means like how many built-in PoE ports the MBR comes with. So if you have some like entry-level IP solution you want to quote, and because the customer isn't that tech savvy and they don't want to change the settings that much, you can just use the plug-and-play solution. So when doing the quotation for plug-and-play solution, you will need an MBR with built-in PoE ports, which is the ones that comes with ends with P4 or P8. And also you need a hard drive to store the video. Of course, you need IP cameras to capture the image. And lastly is network cable. So if you see here, this is a real panel of our built-in PoE ports MBR. These are the PoE ports that's built in, so you don't need to use external PoE switch. So here's an example. Let's say Tom wants to put a 4-channel IP system to his house, and he's not tech savvy. So he wants the system to be foolproof. The place has been wired with Cat5e cable. He wants 4 entry-level dome cameras with wide angle and a good night performance. And he's lazy, so he doesn't want to back up every 2 or 3 days. So he wants to have the maximum storage for his system. Right now, I need you guys to pull out the paper and take the catalog as a reference. Make a quotation for me, for Tom. Okay, so can you tell me the model numbers?
Yeah, I would pick LTS NJ because it has its own PoE.
Right.
Connected cables. I would put 2 data hard drives, total 16 terabytes, and then we'll pick 4 5-megapixel cameras, but you can handle 20 megapixels. I pick CIP-3953-C just in case you want to adjust it.
Okay, very good. You are correct on the first 3 parts. Write MBR, write storage. Well, actually, it's like 8 terabyte. And also, but in terms of camera, actually, Tom only wants some entry-level dome cameras, so you can actually just choose the CMIP
4712.
3412, yes. But yes, sir, but you still get your gifts. Okay, so yeah, if you need entry level with good night performance and also wide angle, you can choose either 3412 or 3412-28. Because the -28 means the camera comes with 2.8mm fixed lens. That's wide angle. Yes.
I think typically when you're bidding out these cameras, if somebody wants 2 cameras, give them a 4-channel. But if they want 4-channel, you gotta at least give them 8 channels or recommend an 8 channel.
Yeah.
Because he's maxed out, and then we call for that 5th camera. Not only is he maxed out, he's pissed off.
I'm glad you brought it up because yeah, that was the initial quote for Tom, that you need like the 4-channel MBR with 4 built-in PoE ports, maximum storage 8 terabyte hard drive, and also 4 of the dome camera with 2.8mm wide angle. But what if they want to upgrade in the future? Upgrade time.
You gotta buy an 8 channel.
PoE switch.
You either add another 4 channel or swap.
Well, at PoE switch, actually, since the it's 4-channel MBR, technically you need to use the 8. You need to change the 8-channel MBR. Right. Okay. So now he wants 8-channel. Okay. Do your math. So Tom wants to put an 8-channel IP system to his house. He's not tech savvy, so he wants the system to be foolproof. The place was being wired, has been wired with Cat5e cable. He wants 4 entry-level dome IP camera with wide-angle good night performance, and also 4 entry-level bullet cameras in black housing. He's lazy, so he needs the maximum storage. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes. Sir.
What do you want first?
So what item does Tom need?
An MBR? LCN 7608 P8 with 8 terabytes.
With 8 terabyte, very good. Thank you.
I always give him that. I give him a 7616
Okay, so you want him to upgrade in the future, yeah.
Yeah, you give him 4 density.
Right.
That
Yeah,
one
that's
has, it has the 8 PoE ports built into it.
right. Yeah, you're correct, sir. Yeah. Sometimes installers tend to ask customer do you have the plan of upgrading your system in the future, so they have more space. But yeah,
I have a customer who's got 8 classrooms. I'd sell him an 8-port DVR, then because he can only go 8. But if he's got 10 classrooms, but he only wants 8 cameras, I'm going to upsell him to a 16 channel because he's eventually going to get close to other classrooms.
Yes, that's from a businessman's standpoint, yes. From an installer standpoint, he only needs 8, right? But you're correct. That's a smart way to do business.
I just have a question. Suddenly it comes out. The built-in PoE. So what about the maximum length?
It's also the same.
Yeah, 300
Like a
feet.
300.
Okay, so what kind of cameras does Tom need? Sir, okay.
The 8232, the bullet,
Uh-huh.
because it's black.
Right. Yeah, 8212B. That's black.
Yeah, but you want to give him a 3 megapixel?
Well, he only needs entry level, right? Sir.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Okay, so he can use 8-channel MBR with 8 built-in PoE ports, 8 terabyte hard drive, and what about the dome cameras?
3412 2D, 28?
Yes. 3412 -28. Yeah.
But you don't have that in black, right?
No.
They're coming?
We don't know. We need to find out. Okay, so those were the entry-level systems. Sometimes, like if you use the built-in PoE ports, you can't really like easily change the settings on the camera side. So some customers they don't like that, so they want like a regular system. So if we go back to this picture, we can see the regular IP system consists of these parts. So NVR, external PoE switch, hard drive, IP cameras, and network cable. So let's see. In the second application, Bob owns a supermarket. He wants a 32-channel NVR with maximum storage, and the capability of integrating with 4 POS devices because he runs a supermarket. So he also needs 17 bullet cameras with motorized lens. He is tech savvy and likes to change each camera setting. The place is already wired with Cat5e cable. So can you guys make a quote for me? It might take longer.
What do you mean integrating with 4 POS? I mean point of sale devices?
Yes.
How are they going to integrate it?
Okay, POS system on the Platinum NVR or the DVR, we have the features called POS integration. What it does is basically the POS software will send a signal either from the network card to the NVR IP address or using RS-232, depending on the NVR as well. So what it does is basically the POS software will send a text overlay to the camera, and the NVR will capture it and assign it to the channel that you want to.
That's for like money exchanging?
What it does is basically it will tell the NVR this channel is making some kind of transaction. So trigger the cameras to record. And when you do playback, you can actually see what you purchased on the screen. We actually have a video on YouTube under our LTS channel. It's actually like us starting from scratch, like how to set it up, how to integrate, how to play back, and also back up the POS. Basically, the whole entire POS. Of course, you also come down to play if the POS software is support this kind of feature as well. So, if you guys have time, feel free to go to the LTS YouTube channel. Take a look at it. So we so far have like 4 training, more than 4. 4 is more detailed training. So you guys can take a look, and it actually has. We also mentioned about smart search. It's one of our very main features of our platform, NVRs. It's very useful, and it's a very good starting point to try to get the business. It's basically, it just tells the camera where you want to search. For example, we have a whole group of motion, and you only want to search that particular spot, for example, on the table that you want customer lost. You just have to highlight that area and just click on search. It will show you a video that only have motion that particular spot. It's very, very useful, but we haven't walked around what you guys do. Yes.
Yeah. Is there any package for POS integrated system?
Okay.
There is several cable and.
No. Yes and no. Depending on the NVR, the lower level ones, they have only the IP integration, which is going to be integrated through the network. So basically, the POS software is going to send a signal to IP just where the NVR is. The higher level, higher model, which is like 32 channels, they will have option to use RS-232, which is a serial port, to use it for integration as well.
So now your technician also know how to hook up and set up, right?
Yeah, basically, for instance, the IP is just going to connect to the network. You don't really have to hotwire anything to the POS server, for example. It's going to be on the same network. So you just have to put in the NVR IP address on the POS programs. For the RS-232, of course, you have to run a hot wire from the NVR to the server. Yes?
One question about the hybrid. The 4-channel hybrid, you can only hold 4 cameras, right?
If you get a 4-channel hybrid, you have 4 analog and 4 IPs.
So it'll take 8 cameras?
8, total of 8 cameras.
Okay, so it can hold 4 IPs. Can you split the screen into 2
Yes. We'll either choose 1x7 or 3x3,
Okay,
which
so
is
even
I'll
though
also
it's
show you guys later on the live view.
Even though it's only a 4-channel system, you can take 8 cameras and you can split the screen.
Okay, what about the quote? Have you guys finished? Don't forget about that.
For the DVR, he used the LTN 77232-P8. Maximum storage is 16. You said a 32 channel, right?
Right.
That's maximum storage.
So yeah, 16 terabyte hard drive. Well, Bob did say that he likes to change each camera setting, but if you choose the one with dash P8, those 8 cameras, it's not that simple to change each camera setting. So it's better for him to use the LTN 7732 instead. What about cameras?
CMI P80 for 33G.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one camera.
What do you mean by that? So he's going to change the camera settings. More about that.
Every camera they have, it's just like an NVR, they have its own IP address. So between the NVR and the camera, it will communicate by the IP address. So like if you every time you log into the camera, you will have like a setting page. Unlike the analog, it's basically like OSD on analog, but like you can access it through the computer. So when you connect to the back of the PoE switch, okay, you will only able to access it through the NVR, which is not allowed setting you can access. It's pretty much like motion, those kind of settings you can adjust. But like for example, under the WDR, you can adjust that. You can turn it on or off within the camera page. But if you connect to the back of the PoE switch, okay, then you cannot access it. Well, that is a way, but it's a very, you have to actually, you have to connect a laptop to the back of the PoE switch. A lot of networking involved, which is, not the way you want it.
Well, why would he need to do that?
Because he wants to change each camera settings.
Can you tell me practically why he would change his settings? He's tech savvy.
For example, this camera looking at this way is, straight. You want to look it upside down, you can do that on the camera. Or you can do a mirror. You can do that in the camera settings page as well. And also there's if the camera has noise reduction, you can also adjust that in the camera.
Technically, he wants to have full control.
Yes. Because basically when you put it into the back of the PoE switch, all it does is just you're able to get the basic settings. But for the more advanced settings, you have to go into the camera to adjust it.
But it's on the network, so what's the difference? I mean, if it's an IP address, then why is there a difference?
Yeah, that's what I will show you guys later.
Okay.
But the PoE switch on the back has a separate, I will put it this way. The back of the PoE switch has, its own network IP addresses.
It's like having 2 network networks.
Yes, basically it has a little own world. It's completely different than the current network that your MPO is connecting to.
So,
Yes.
if we want to use cameras and change that functionality, stay away from the built-in field.
Yes.
Same.
Yes. Because it basically has its own network card inside that will communicate with the camera to connect to the back of the PoE switch. So it's not related to
You're still using a PoE switch, it's just external.
Yes, you will add a PoE switch in this case.
Tomorrow you can basically identify the IP address of the camera, and then you can plug that into your laptop and go inside and just.
Yes, technically, what you need to do is, for example, you have a PA port in the back. For example, you have 2 cameras connected. You can connect a laptop to the back of the PA switch and assign the IP address, according to what you have on the NVR. And you can access those pages.
You have software that can do that, right?
It's a web client. It's based on a web client.
It's based on a web client?
Yes. Basically, you just do type in the IP address of the camera and you can enter that page by using it.
So you guys gave us some software once, but we're actually able to change it.
That's an SATP client tool, which I will show you guys later on.
Right.
You can actually change the IP address. That's how you do it. Or like, to change the setting, you actually need to log into the camera. Yes.
So do these cameras have an integrated web server built in essentially that you can log in through a web client with, like a browser?
Yes. Basically, every camera will have a function to log into the web client. From like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox. Or even if you can just have one camera on the network and you can use the mobile computer. Yes.
Theoretically, if the customer just wants one camera, since the camera has a web interface, once you bring it up on the screen, is there a button to start recording on the computer?
No. Well, some of the cameras.
You see where I'm getting at? Like, if you
Yes.
want one camera, you might.
Yes, actually, I was helping one of the client that was only one camera, right? He doesn't want an NVR. So what it does is you can put an SD card in it. Some of the camera have a function to add an SD card to it, so you can record off, onto the SD card.
Can you pull the information off the
Yes,
computer?
through the web client. Yes, you can do playback on it too. Yes.
And those camera models are the ones with -S.
What's that you said with dash one?
With -S. -S has the capability of integrate with audio and also add SD card. Okay, so we have the network, NVR, we have the camera, we have the storage. What else do we need? What are we missing in this application? Okay, who can tell me what kind of PoE switching we need?
48.
Well, our PoE switch are on page 7 of the catalog. He totally has 17 cameras, so.
He's 24.
Oh, 20.
1600, what about the last one? He has 17. Well, yeah, but you still need, each camera needs a PoE ports to power and transmit the data. So if it's only 16 PoE ports, there's one camera missing.
24 port, which is
Right.
SW2402.
Yes, he needs a 24 port PoE switch, which is also gigabit based, so it kind of transmit data faster. But thank you, sir. Okay, so let's see. He needs a 32 channel without built-in PoE port because he needs to change the setting of each camera. Also, he needs the maximum storage, which for the 32 channel NVR, you can put 4 hard drive, each can be up to 4 terabyte. And also he needs 17 of the bullet camera with motorized lens, which is 8432-C. Lastly, the PoE switch, he needs a 24 port because he totally has 17 cameras. If only 16 port PoE switch there's one left. So, okay, hybrid system. Because you have customer that already has the existing analog system, they know about the advantages of IP and they are thinking about upgrading to the system. But still, he has some good cameras you don't want to throw away. What he can do is use the hybrid NVR. So it's pretty much like the regular IP solution quotation. So you just need to change the NVR into the hybrid. Let's see the 30. Okay. So, anyone named Mike here? It has to be you. Okay, well, okay. Mike is the owner of a Dunkin' Donuts store. There's an existing analog system with 4 good analog cameras. He wants to upgrade to an IP system, but doesn't want to throw away the 4 good analog cameras. So he needs a hybrid system with maximum storage, 4 entry-level turret cameras with wide angle and good night performance, and a box of 1,000 feet 25E cables. So we have accessories in this part. How about take 5 minutes to finish the call?
Okay, if I use hybrid, 60 channel analog, 60 channel IP, there is any way to see 32 cameras the same screen?
Actually, on our Platinum series, you're only able to see 16 maps per page, but you can have up to more than 1 pages. But the thing is, why we why it's set up like this, because when you have 32 cameras in one screen, it's just going to be very tiny, which is not really usable. So we separate into 2 pages.
What about 8 and 8?
Yeah, you can set it like that too.
No, I mean, 8 analog with 8 bigger one.
On the same page?
60 cameras.
On the same page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a live configuration. You can change the way you run it on the MPR.
But not 16 and 60.
No, not 32. 32. Yes.
Can you run 2 web clients on a computer? And the reason I'm asking is because you can, I do a lot of multiple monitors. You can put up 16 on one monitor and 16 on the other. Some systems can't.
Yes, that's true. On the certain model, then you cannot run more than just one.
Do you use DVRs? Do you able to run?
We haven't really demonstrated, but like on the 16 or higher.
Well, it doesn't have to be 16. It can be 1-1.
So like you mean like you want to have 2 web pages, one showing 1 camera, one showing 8 cameras.
Let's say I installed NVR system here. I go to the office. I have a couple monitors. I open up a web browser, say Mozilla. I enter the IP address. I log in and I look at the camera. I open another web browser, Mozilla. I enter the IP address and I want to plug another camera on the second level.
On the same, is it the same location?
Same computer.
It's the same location? Is the 2
from the same location, yeah, same IP.
We haven't tested yet, but like I know that if you have 2 separate locations, for example, you can connect it to 2 different MPRs. Yes.
Okay, so we can run 2 web clients.
Because I've done it before. Yeah, but like on the orders of analog series and the series, some of them has limitations that you're not Platinum series, I'm pretty sure.
In DMS software, you can run 2 actually.
You can run
multiple DVR.
And also you can arrange it into 1 page.
You can arrange it in 1 page. If you got a big 75-inch television, the size is an issue.
Yeah, you can do that. Yes.
Any chance in the future of high Platinum series hybrid will have a spot monitor and/or the ability to have more storage on
We can request that,
they both be very useful.
Yeah, we can request that you sort of spot out and get more storage.
8 terabytes on 16.
Right. Yeah, well, we can definitely put in a request.
Okay, you finished the poll. Okay, so. Right. Okay, thank you, sir. What else? What else does Mike need? Besides the MVR, 4 good analog camera, 4 good IP camera, which is the CMIP 3012-28. That's the tour with wide angle and good night performance. What else? Cat 5 cable, which is on page. On page.
We're recognizing, man, you're spitting out.
Okay. Cat 5 accessories are cables are on page 30. What else? Still one part missing.
4-port switch.
Yeah, 4-port PoE switch. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let's see a complete quote. So he needs the 4+4 hybrid walk you through the installation process of the IP system.
So I hope you guys are not hungry yet. Okay, this is a diagram to show you a general idea on how you're going to install the NVR and the IP cameras. So you have your NVR in the middle here. So the first thing you have to do is connect the NVR to the router. Okay, if you're going to be using the built-in PoE switch, which is over here, all you need to do is just connect the cameras straight to it, just like an analog system, without doing any configuration. And the NVR will pick it up automatically. If you're going to be installing a separate PoE switch to add more cameras, because the back of the port is already full when you have an 8-channel system, first thing you're going to connect the PoE switch to the router. The reason being is you don't want the PoE switch to have too much traffic. So that's how we recommend it. Do it that way. But you always can do connect the NVR to the PoE switch as well. But the thing is, you're going to take up the PoE ports as well. So which is you don't want to do that unless you have no solution because the cable are too long. Yes. If you use static IP address on the camera instead of having the router or the gateway to assign the IP address, that is possible. And also, we always recommend you guys to use static IP address instead of using DHCP. I know DHCP is much easier, but the thing is you don't know when the gateway on the router is going to release a different IP address to your device. So in that case, you might lose the connectivity to the cameras, or if you're doing port forwarding, if what happens if it assign you to a different IP address on the NVR, then you lose the port forwarding features. So you always better to use that IP address, which is I will show you guys later on too. Okay, so the reason being, I already explained the reason being using the connected PoE switch to the router to not going to be too much traffic going onto the PoE switch. Okay, and the cameras separately going to connect to the PoE switch. So the NVR is going to get the IP address through the PoE switch from the cameras. You guys have any questions regarding this diagram? Or yes?
What kind of problems might you run into if you connect directly to the PoE?
I'm sorry?
What kind of problems might you run into if you don't use the router?
No, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to have a lot of bandwidth going on, traffic going on within the PoE switch. Basically, it works. It's not that it's not going to work. We just recommend it to connect to the router. And first of all, because when you have 8 cameras, okay, you're going to have 8 ports going into the PoE switch. But if you connect the NVR to the PoE switch, you're going to end up using 1 port. So you have to go, upsize the PoE switch. It's also that theory that will impact your quotation as well. But of course, when you have situation that like this gentleman said, then you have no absolutely no other way to go around, and you have to use you can always connect to the PoE switch. That's no problem. Yes.
Customer has a router. Has a modem that has a built-in router. Would you still suggest installing a separate router?
No. If you have if you already have a router there, you don't have to put it in as long as you know the username password to set up the port forwarding features.
How many ports do you have to forward? How many ports?
On the Platinum, the hybrid will be 3. The IP solution will have 4. So the first one will be HTTP, second one will be server port, third one will be RTSP. The last one is just not required, which is going to be HTTPS. This one you don't have to forward it in order to work, but when your client needs to have HTTPS S, you have to forward this port, which is default by 443. Yes, so either 3 or 4. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
If I have a static IP coming in,
okay.
Normally I would run that right into the DVR and set the DVR up with the static IP. In this case, would I set the line directly from router with the static IP? Would I run that right into the LAN port on the NVR? Would I use one of those PoE ports into a switch to get my cameras?
When you have a static IP, coming from the ISP, it's better to hook up to like a modem. So I mean, like a router. So the IP,
no matter what, you want me to use a router and port forward.
Right, because the NVR gonna pick up the IP address, static IP address from the your ISP. But the camera is not going to pick up that kind of IP address because it's already assigned to that NVR. So you're going to have trouble.
Well, that's why I'm asking. I didn't know if the NVR had the ability to turn on its own gateway to auto sense the camera. No. Okay. So no matter what, I have to install a router at that point.
Yes. Okay. Unless you're using a built-in PoE NVR, then you don't have that issue.
Right.
Okay. Any more questions about the driver? Yes.
Yeah, okay. I have a router set up as a switch. The router is plugging in, the router's connected to the NVR. The end user, the customer, also has their own router, which they're getting out. So I have to forward the ports on both routers, the customer's router and my router.
Yes.
And they have to be the same ports.
What happened is, two routers are going to have a different port. For example, the first one will be, let's make it up, 192.168.1 network. And the second one on top of it is probably going to be 2.1. So like what happened is when you do port forwarding, the 1.1 going to be port forward to the 2.1. And then 2.1 going to pinpoint to the NVR.
Because my router is plugging into their network.
Right. Yeah, so like basically you have to do layers of port forward.
Why would you have your own separate router? You already have one router on location.
Because the customer doesn't want us touching their router.
We do run into issues sometimes. Yes.
It's sensitive.
Yes. Let's say, maybe you can answer it if it's possible. Say I installed a camera in the office in Philly, an IP camera, and I put another camera saying New York. Can I forward a port for them to connect to an NVR, say, located in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that by using the external IP address.
So, in a sense, I would create my own cloud and connect all the cameras.
Yes. Yes, but it will be a little complicated for these possibilities.
Is it just one port?
No, it's like adding a camera because this is what you can say is flexibility. You don't have to have the camera at the location to add to the NVR. It's possible.
What ports do they typically use?
For
the
port forwarding or the cameras?
For the cameras.
Well, the NVR and the camera, they all share the same ports: 80, 8554, 8000, and also 443. But you can always change them. But make sure when you change them, you have to change them. Change the setting on also on the NVR.
Do you have to get an SSL certificate for the 443 if you want to use HTTPS?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If you're going to use HTTPS, will the NVR handle the secure connection?
Yeah. Yes. As long as you do the port forwarding on 443, if you see it on the application. Yes.
On the PoE switch setup, does it give you more traffic because it goes up to the router, opposed than using it the built-in PoE switch?
I'm sorry.
Do you get more traffic going through a router using the PoE switch separately from going inside the DVR?
Well, what will happen is, whoever connects to the PoE switch here is going to isolate the bandwidth, the traffic to. So like everything that within this PoE switch is not going to affect the router as much. That's why, this is what we call isolation. Isolation for the bandwidth. Okay, what we have here is 7608-P4, exactly what was on the diagram before. On the back of here, you're going to see the built-in PoE switch. Okay, your USB port, your VGA, the HDMI over here, and the LAN port, and the power. So to demonstrate the plug and play features, okay, so we're going to get like two Ethernet cable. connect to the camera, and then just go straight into the back of the PoE switch on the NVR. Now you see the light turns on the PoE, that means pick up.
After the weekend.
And lastly, make sure you connect the NVR to the router. This is basically how you connect to the using the plug and play features, using the built-in PoE switch. It's plain and simple, just like an analog system. You don't have to mess around with the PoE switch, going through different switches and different layers. It's very simple, plug and play, simple as that. Now I'm going to show you the setting. See, after we connect the cameras, it's already showing up. You don't really have to do much anything. So first, I'll show you where the camera plug and play feature is. So you go to menu, you go to camera, and camera. Okay, so the first one we connected here is assigning this IP address over here. Okay. This is the second one that we just added. It's that simple. You don't have to do anything. You add it automatically.
Now Marlon,
yes.
To achieve the sequence of 2 through whatever, 1 through whatever, you should wait until you're ready and you have all your cameras deployed and you plug them in the sequence that you have them?
Yes. Well, on the back of the PoE switch, you don't have to. Because
on the back, you don't,
no,
right?
because of the port 1 is going to be the channel 1.
But on the PoE switch,
which
it's
is
all janky if you do it.
Which is I will show you also in the future. So I have a PoE switch here, which I want to show you. Right. So like this is pretty much how you're going to add the cameras, okay? So before we go into the PoE switch, I'm going to walk through the network setting page with you guys first, because it's going to be networking involved. So first, to get to the network setting page, you go to menu, configuration, and the network. Okay. So by default, the DHCP is not turned on the NVR, and if you don't know the IP address, on the network or the router is giving you, you can just simply turn on and enable DHCP and then apply. After you apply it, the NVR will get the IP address from the router. Okay, to get the IP address that the router is assigned for NVR, you will go to menu, maintenance, and then system info. On the top, go to network. Now you see the router is assigning this IP address to the NVR. So which is, you don't have to guess and see what kind of network you want. Okay, so all the information you need here, basically you just need the subnet mask, which is pretty much always the same, and the default gateway. The default gateway is going to be the router IP address. Okay, so after we obtain, you get all these information, you will go back to the configuration network page. Okay, and then uncheck DHCP and put in the information that you just obtained from the info system information network range. So in this case, it's going to be 192.168.1, and then 1. The IP address, the IPv4 address, basically you're going to put the same as the gateway for the first 3 columns. The last one is to identify your device in the network. So like I usually recommend to put anything higher than 150 to avoid any kind of IP conflict, because you don't know when the router will actually recognize the NVR because it's not a computer. So in this case, we're going to put 200. And then you hit apply. Now you go back to the menu, where the maintenance system info is. Now there is your IP address. You guys have any questions regarding the networking part?
You don't have to reboot anything?
No, you don't have to.
Can you show the ports?
I'm sorry. The ports. The ports in the menu, configuration, network. On the top, you see more settings here. These are the port numbers. You have the server port 8000, HTTP 80, 8544, 443. If you don't want to use this, you just uncheck it. That's all.
You said it was not required to use
No.
HTTPS.
Unless you, on the browser, well, usually Chrome direct you to HTTPS. So in that case, you might need to look
You
into
can't
that.
use Chrome as their
Yes. Because depending on the type of browser you use. Okay. So now you get the IP address. Okay. I'm good. Yes, go ahead.
When you said the example about the router coming from the internet into the router and then to the DVR, those ports need to be open in that router too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. In order for remote view. So when you see it from different locations.
So like the gentleman was saying up front here, sometimes the customer doesn't want you to touch their router, or it might be like a ISP, they assign routers, they don't want you to touch it, right? The cable vision, and so, or whoever it is. So they have to open up those ports on
Yes.
their end, right?
You have to request it, from to the IT department.
Or go to static.
Yeah. The customer.
Okay, now I'm going to show you the external PoE switch here. Okay. On the front of the PoE switch, you have 8 ports here. Okay. Just disconnect the. I'm going to disconnect the camera that we're connecting to the back of the PoE switch. Okay. All you're going to do is connect to the front of the PoE switch. There's an indicator light on the front to tell you exactly either it's getting signal and also PoE power to the camera. Okay. Now we're going to connect the PoE switch to the router so that MBR can recognize on the same network. Okay, now the connection is done. Okay. Any question regarding the connection over here? Now I'm going to show you a program I mentioned it before. It's SADP. It's a platinum tool. Basically, this program, what it does is, it will basically show you everything, all the platinum device on the same network, even though the camera IP address is completely different. Okay, you can change the IP address on it. So, for example, our DVR here, 7608, we assign it as 200, right? One of the camera that we used before, which is this one, is a 188.2, which is completely different network, but you're still able to pick it up. Once you select the camera, you can go to the right and start changing the IP address. So for example, this one I'm going to change it to 192.1.201. Okay? And then you put in the password. The default password is going to be 12345. And then you click on save. So now it'll tell you parameters, qualification success. You see the IP address has changed. On this program, we also show you the firmware version too. I'm sorry? You can download from our Platinum download page all the way on the bottom, which is Platinum Tools, SADP. You can go to our website.
So my computer needs to be connected to that.
Yes, same network. It has to be on the same network in order to configure it. Yes. So basically, you're pretty much gonna bring your own laptop there. It's easier in this case because you have wireless network and also
Mac compatible?
I'm sorry?
Mac compatible?
Unfortunately, no. Only PC.
Can I have cameras from different port that 8,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Configurable in the NVR?
Yes.
Does this work on the wireless network?
What do you mean by wireless network? Like,
If my computer's on the wireless network.
yes. As long as the Wi-Fi is also getting the same IP port.
And it's the same Wi-Fi network.
Yes. Yes. Then you'll be okay.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, when you're installing the NVMe 7000 or the SATP program, basically we'll actually install two additional packages in order to be functional. The first one is related to Microsoft, is x68 version. The second one is called WinPack. I think it's, yeah. WinPack is one of the additional tools that you need in order for this program to be functional. If you skip installing the WinPack, you're not going to see anything on here. So you have to make sure you install those two programs, those two packages within the same installation. So you have to make sure you install. You don't see anything. If you don't install WinPack, you're not going to see anything here.
And all those
If the program
programs,
still launch, but you're not going to see anything.
those programs are all on the Platinum page, right?
Yes, everything, all the firmware update on the NVR, IP cameras, all the NVMe 7000 apps is also on the Platinum download page. Everything is on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change the IP address for the second camera. So also the screen to show you the cameras. And also, just in case you did any kind of error, then you can access to the web client. You can already use this program to change the IP address as well. It's very useful. Okay, after I assign all the IP address, okay, I'll go back to the NVR. Now, because we disconnected the cameras, I'll use the link. So first, our Plan series has a very easy features to add the cameras. On the bottom here, you see this tab. It's called Add IP Cameras Auto. So basically what it does is, once you click this, it will automatically add the cameras for you. So you start searching the cameras. See, now you add the other two we just added. It's very simple, but as this gentleman said, what happened? I want to arrange it. I don't want to add, all of them at the same time, so I can't arrange it. You can go to menu, camera, and then camera. This will show you, the first four is going to be the PoE switch, so you cannot change them. Okay. So, for example, I want to rearrange all these three cameras. Okay. This is the delete button. It's delete camera. Okay. Once you delete the camera, it will become available on the bottom, which is not assigned to anything on the bottom. Okay. For example, if I want to add 201 to channel 5, okay, I'll look for 201 and then click on the add, and bam. Simple as this. And also you can change the network setting. But when you have using the LTS Platinum IP camera, you don't have to change anything. You just click on add. So I want add 250 this time. It becomes channel 6.
It has a different IP address, right?
Yes. So if you use auto add, it will auto assign to the channel for you, which is limits you from choosing which camera to which which layout. Yes. Yes, I will show. This is going to be a. You're asking if you already add 14 cameras and you don't want to rearrange it. So is there any way to rearrange the layout? Yes. At the last training, I will show you something called live view configuration. I'll rearrange it to any way you want it. Okay, but before we go on, I'm going to show you the record parameters, which is involve the frame rate, the resolution, and also the max bit rate. So first you will go to menu, you go to camera. You go to record and then parameters. Okay, once you come to here, you will see record and substream. Okay, so on the top you can select the camera that you want to change the parameters. Okay, this is the available option that you have here for this camera. So for example, you're going to choose 3 megapixel. And quality you can choose from lowest to highest. By default, it's on medium. Full frame means 30 frames per second. So if you think you don't need the 30 frames here, you can lower it to like 15, 10, whichever you like. This is the max baud rate that I mentioned earlier. It's recommended over here. This is the recommended range. So you can lower it to 2048 to increase, to lower the frame rate. Okay. So once it's done, you just hit apply. Now, you guys notice there's a mainstream and there's a substream. There's something that we have to talk about here. Mainstream means when you are seeing on the DVR, if you're seeing one by one camera at a time, you will be on the mainstream mode. Okay, and also there's going to be your recording settings. So for example, on mainstream, you set it at the 3 megapixel, it will record it at 3 megapixel. As if you set it at 15 frames, it will record it at 15 frames. Okay. When you switch to substream is when you see multiple cameras, like when you see on your iPhone, on your web client, or actually on the DVR when you see multiple cameras. It will be on the substream. The substream, you can also change the resolution too. So for example, you have all 3, but it's not gonna hurt when you set it to T1. Now it's on full frame. You can set it to 15 or whichever you want. But this has nothing to do with the recording. This is only to show you a smoother when you do a live video. Okay, any question regarding this substream, mainstream, and the record parameters?
So you can set the substream for when you're looking at multiple camera views. Because I noticed when the substream is on one camera, the clarity is significantly less.
Yes, because, well, put it this way. When you have, substream only kicks in when it's at least 2x2. So for example, you have 4 cameras at 1080p. If you use 1080p on mainstream, you're not going to see a big difference because it's all compact. But when you're on the substream, it's also allow you to load the pages faster, especially when you're using like the remote login.
It seems like on the web client, it's defaulted to substream.
Yes.
For all views.
Yes.
And then you have to go in and set it the mainstream.
Yes.
And I mean, the upgrade in terms of clarity is significant.
Yes, that's why at that point you have to show it to your customer where when you want to change from substream to mainstream.
But I couldn't figure out why it was the default of substream and
no,
not.
because of the internet bandwidth. When you have 16 cameras and they all running at 1080p, once you have all mainstream, what's going to happen? Basically, you're not going to see any cameras because going basically 1080p, you talk about a meg per camera. You talk about upload at 16 meg.
Substream doesn't affect recording, right?
No, it does not affect recording, yes.
Now that we're talking about bandwidth, how is this going to affect the average business or the average homeowner? Are they going to see a difference when you put this IP camera on their system?
It only will impact the internet access when someone's actually seeing the camera. When you're not seeing the camera, well, this thing is just sitting there, it's not going to be serving the camera.
When you're saying at a convenience store, you're saying it's a typical convenience store, you're going to see all the cameras on that main display monitor.
That's local. That's not going to be.
Okay, it's not going to affect them. Only when they're viewing off-site is this going to affect. Okay, fair enough.
Because it's not uploading.
That's the biggest question we get is how's that going to affect? They understand that's going to affect their internet. And
you're going to see a significant, significant delay. You're going to see a difference when someone actually log into to the cameras remotely because it's uploading the image. So you're gonna see like you
Lag.
see internet, and it's gonna be lagging.
Have lag.
That's a latency. Well, depending on how many cameras you have, like in general, 1080p will give you around like a Mac per camera upload. So if you have 16 cameras, you need at least 16 Mac, not including anything else you're doing, like your computer, your tablet, your phone. So you're gonna have at least 16 Max upload speed in order to have 16 cameras loading at 1080p remotely. So that's why we always set it as a substream to restore that kind of bandwidth to have less impact on your internet service. Any more questions regarding the substream mainstream?
I'm all good.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you the live view configuration. For example, you already set up the camera, you already entered the IP address, you don't want to change anything, but your customer requesting to change the live view settings. This is where you go to. First, you'll go to menu, configuration, live view. On this page, you have two tabs, it's general and view. Go ahead and go to view. This is the layout page for you to adjust for this particular MDR. For example, I don't want D1, well, on the bottom first, you have 1x1, 4x4, 1x5, 1x4, 1x7, and 3x3. You can have customize however you want on this page right here. So for example, I'm gonna want 1x7, okay? And I don't want camera 1 to be on the main camera. So click on this little X to remove it. If you want to move channel 7 to the channel 1 here, you just click on the X to remove the D7. And then go back to D1 and double click on the D7. You will bring it to the D7 to the deprecated box. And then hit apply. On the bottom, that's two functions here. One is stop all live view, one is stop all live view. What it does is, when you want to remove everything here without clicking the little X, okay, you just click on this button. It removes every channel. Okay, so then you can start rearranging yourself. But let's say you made a mistake. I don't want to do that. You click on start live view all. You'll go back to the default. Okay, so to demonstrate, I'm going to remove the D1. Yes. No. This features only applies to the physical MPR location, physical location where the MPR is. It will not impact the web client. No. This is why I choose these features to show you, right here, because I cannot show you over the internet. Once you call the textbook, we cannot show you because it's only available on the MPR itself. Because you don't want people to change the live view on the internet when you already set it up, and you mess it up, and you have to keep going back and forth. And because this is strictly at the location. Because once you make the changes, you're not able to see on your computer. So there's no point in having this feature. So I already removed the. For example, I'm going to move D7 to the D1. Okay. When the camera is selected, you see this. The camera is grayed out. That means it's not selected. Okay. Once it's selected, it will become white. Now we have the D7. Okay. This is going to be. I'm sorry. I think this one.
Well, it won't like that on the website.
No. It only applies to the email. Okay. Let's say if you want to change it to 4, okay? Same theory. For example, on the first page, okay, I want camera 5, and then camera 7, and 3 I only want, for example, camera 1, and then 4 or camera 3, okay? And you're going to ask me, what happened to the rest of the cameras? On this page, on the bottom of the right corner, you have the page number. So you can go to the next page and start adding the rest of the cameras. let's say you're finished, okay? On the bottom here, you find the layout. Okay, now it's the layout that you decided previously. Let's say you will go to the next page. You go to the next page, right here. It's this simple. Any question regarding the library? Let's talk about the motion on the camera. Okay, on every camera, even though on the viewing POE switch, you're still able to access the motion detection page, okay, which is under camera and then motion. This is the camera's motion detection page. So like it will detect, when you see this little red box here, that means the whole screen is filled up with the motion detection function. You want, for example, you don't want only one certain area to have motion. You just have to draw it. For example, only want this area. And then also you can change the sensitivity. Is there any other features you guys like have kind of questions?
What is privacy mask?
Okay, privacy mask, for example, you have to install a camera in some kind of locker room or changing room, okay? But the camera, but they have to have like some kind of locker that they want to look at. But they, at the same time, they have like a changing area. So like, for example, this side, on the left side of the screen is going to be the changing room. What happened is, sorry. You can mask this entire area. Of course, you have to enable it first.
There it is.
So now you're not going to see anything, and also under the recording, you're going to see completely blackout spot. Okay, for example, you say, oh, I have a very weird shaped room that I have multiple areas that I want to fill up with. So on the NVR itself, you can select up to 4 zones. So for example, I want to mask this room, and I will go into the other one. So you can have up to 4 zones. Okay, so now this is how the privacy mask works.
So this is only available on the NVR, right?
On the VVR, also on the platinum VVR.
VVR.
Pretty much all the features that's available on the NVR on the platinum also will be available on the analog platinum too.
And it affects the recording, right?
Yes. Basically, this is going to be what you're going to be seeing on the recording. Okay. And also, I'm going to walk you through on the little icon. On the top, this is the alert, meaning that usually it's motion. When there's motion detected, or you set up as a POS, when you trigger the channel, it will trigger. You will see the little siren on the top. Next to it, it's already not able to see it that clear. It's a camcorder icon. Yes.
If you use a privacy mask, you have that one set up on the POS. If you mask, say, the left side, and I get the POS to show up on the left, and the actual camera view on the right, where it only does it where it puts the POS information over the whole view.
You go over the whole view, but like we haven't demonstrated, but the way it should be, it will be over the entire camera.
Okay.
Yes.
Point of sale output, that's like a duplicate, is it from the registers like a duplicate receipt? That information is what's sent into the DVR?
No. What happened is basically the POS software will send a signal to the NVR. So and on the POS software, you have to put in the information where you want the POS software to send it to. So in this case, you're going to be the IP address of the NVR.
And that's like a RS-32 port or USB?
No, either RS-232 or the IP connection. So
if the register has that.
Yes, usually that is going to be connecting to the server where the POS server is. So it's not going to connect to the register. It's going to connect to the server. Because like every POS station, they will send a signal to the server first, and then the server sends a signal to the NPR. So it's not going to go straight to the station. It's going to go to the server. Yes.
When you click on a camera individually, you get the row of icons.
Yes.
Could you explain the functionality of those icons?
Okay, for example, this camera. The first one is stop recording. So basically, you're gonna stop auto recording. If you press it, it stops recording. See the camcorder disappeared. Once you click on it, you can come back on.
Now, if your DVR is set to motion, how does that impact?
Well, this will override the motion.
So you have to. So if you stop playing or you stop recording for whatever reason, and you want to go back to its motion setting, you have to click it again.
Well, what happened is, for example, right now I'm on motion. Right here I'm on motion.
Right.
So like, for example, if this camera right now have no motion whatsoever, it will not be recording. But once you click on that, it will override the motion schedule to stop recording because you don't have motion. So the NVR doesn't know to record. But once you click on that, it will override that function. But once you stop it, it will go back to the schedule.
The schedule.
Yes.
What are some of the other buttons?
Instant playback. So basically, you can click on this for just instant playback. This is the playback. For example, you don't want to go through all that trouble to go to playback and search for the time. You just want to see, like, for example, 30 seconds a minute ago. You just click on the instant playback, and that's how this will work.
Is there a setting for how long you want that to go back?
No. That's only it's fixed. So I believe it was 30 seconds. I believe it was the 30 seconds. If I have to look up the actual information, but I believe it was 30 seconds. Okay. Now the audio on. So if you have the S model of the camera and you have the camera on, you can click on this. But of course, on the NVR, on the back of the NVR, there's an audio output. You have to connect to some kind of speakers for the function to work. Okay. PTC control. If you have PTC control, if you have a PTC camera or the motorized lens, you can use these features to control the camera. This is to move around, zoom in, the focus, and the iris, and also the preset if you have.
On that audio, are you able to listen to the audio on the remote app too?
Yes. Yes. Even on the iPhone, Android.
On live view?
Yes. Yes.
But there's no way, let's say if a customer is sitting out by the pool and someone rings at their doorbell, is there any way for them to communicate with the person at the door in front of the house via the iPhone?
No. That doesn't have that feature.
But the camera has a speaker output?
The camera has a speaker.
Or is it just the audio?
Audio thing. Well, on some model, I think it has audio output too. Yes, on certain model they have audio output too.
So why would you use the audio output if you can't talk back? What will be the point?
That's something that we haven't really focused on testing yet. But like, it doesn't have that features to talk. It doesn't have that function for you to enable.
With audio
It might be because, as you said, we keep adding features to the IP cameras. Like the smart tracking, the POS, things like this. We keep adding more features, but in the future, it might be possible.
It serves as a door phone.
Right. Yeah, it is possible. Like later on, but like this is the flexibility that you can have with the IP solution. And also, this one is a digital zoom in. So once you click on it, okay, you can zoom in digitally.
Now that's only on the NVR, right?
Yes. Only on that.
Is that because it's a Z camera?
No. This will apply on any camera because this is a digital zoom. So basically, you just enhance the video image to show you. It won't. It's not like optical zoom. It's like on a camera, on like those like compact cameras. Yeah, the digital zoom and optical zoom. So once you're beyond the optical zoom, then you can use the digital zoom. But it won't enhance the video image.
You can use that on.
Okay, so the Z camera, can you zoom in?
Only 1 second.
Can you zoom in from the DVR? Or do you have to do like an analog camera or something?
No, it takes place here. So if you want to zoom in, you just
Not software, the hardware zoom.
the hardware zoom in.
Yeah, hardware zoom.
You mean
Z camera is a very
the whole focus? No, you have to adjust it on the camera because those are manual adjustments. Unless you get the motorized, you can easily see.
The higher the megapixel of the camera, will that be a much more clear?
Yes, because what happened is what we have here, because through the limitation of the projector, you only have the 1280 by 1024. So like if you have a higher resolution, it will give you a better image.
And on recording, like when you plan recording back an image, you do the same thing, pull over the image like that.
Yes.
Print it out.
Yes. So like,
That's where it's more important that when you know, playback, you know, recognize the guy's face or.
or pixelates. This is the digital zoom in and the playback feature.
It's not bad, yeah. And you can print, right there, you can print that out if you have.
Well, on certain function, on certain model, yes. Not on every model.
So what's the exporting mode? You want to export that?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
You want to export that, how do you do that?
You go to menu. There's an option called export. And you select the camera that you want on the top, and then start time, start date, recording type. You can choose, however you set it. Okay. So, but to be simple, set it as all. Once you click on search, it will bring up this page. So like you can select the cameras over here. So which one you want to export. On the bottom, on the right, you can click on the play to preview the video before you export.
Nice. That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. And that's based on the setting that you had on the previous screen, time, date.
Yes. Yes. That will be based on the time that you set. So that's good. And also we do have a playback and an export function on YouTube channel. It's more walkthrough and more detail. And since already here, I will show you the smart search playback function. Okay. So for example, I want to use this camera. Okay. So this is playing right now. On this bottom here, you have a smart search button. Once you click on it, for example, I only want this area, and then you click on play. On the right bottom corner, you have a zoom in on the right side to zoom in the timeline. On the right bottom corner here, you can zoom in the timeline from 24 hours to 12 hours and then 6 hours. I'm sorry, 12 to 6 and then 1 hour. So like the green indication are showing the video that has motion, okay, and the blue one is actually recording on it.
What are you exporting to?
You can export to the flash drive, or you have this DVD one, but like usually flash drive is the way to go.
Yeah, but if you got a 81 gigabyte.
Okay, that's a good question. Since we could bring it up. If you guys pretty much familiar with the analog system, when you do backup physically at the DVR, you're only able to use FAT32 format. When FAT32 format, you cannot go over a certain size. When you back up the, so we cannot put an external hard drive. Our Platinum, you can support NTFS. So technically, you can put a hard drive to it and start backing up the files.
So USB?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand what you were that part.
Okay.
Can you go back over that again?
Sure. Okay. For example, the blue indicator on the bottom here, right? This is the actual recording that's available on the MVR. Okay. So on the green tab over here, that is the smart search recording that the camera is detected within the area I just searched.
Oh, okay.
So like to go back to show you one more time.
So I might want to do that, like if I have a car in the driveway or something.
Yeah.
I want to see who comes near the car.
Yes. So like for example, I want to search war this time. Okay, I'm sorry. you have to click on the smart search function first, okay? Then for example, I want to select, okay? This red box is meaning that's the area selected. You click on play. You see right here, this is the recording. So the green one basically tells you where the smart search is. The blue one saying that you have to do it. Any more questions?
So that was the end of today's training. Thank you so much for you guys.